Much for your blessings.
Amen.
Thank you for your blessings and kind words of prayer, Toastmaster Carol Lilia. Toastmasters and guests, I will now recite the Toastmasters promise. As a member of Toastmasters International and Platinum Artistic Toastmasters Club, I promise to attend club meetings regularly to prepare all of my projects to the best of my ability, basing them on the Toastmasters education program, to prepare for and fulfill meeting assignments, to provide fellow members with helpful constructive evaluations, to help the club maintain the positive, friendly environment necessary for all members to learn and grow, to serve my club as an officer when called upon to do so, to treat my fellow club members and our guests with respect and courtesy, to bring guests to club meetings so they can see the benefits Toastmasters membership offers, to adhere to the guidelines and rules of all Toastmasters educational and recognition programs, to act within Toastmasters core values of integrity, respect, service, and excellence during the conduct of all Toastmasters activities. There you go, the Toastmasters promise. And now we shall introduce Toastmaster Alvin Sentoma, our Toastmaster of the evening, who will chair the entire meeting. For a short bio on Toastmaster Alvin Sentoma. Alvin Sentoma, the artist and storyteller, has a deep passion and lifelong desire to document his island's cultural heritage through his drawings and paintings. For him, discovery and preservation of all the treasures forming the formidable expanse loosely termed the St. Lucian environment, history, culture, and folklore would be his life's achievements. Its art, myths, writings, and traditions. Alvin studied art at the Edna Manley School of Visual Arts in Jamaica and video production and audiovisual at Portsmouth College in England. Toastmaster Alvin has a master draftsman and colorist. He defines and refines images in a style that is uniquely his own. Of note are his design of the St. Lucia National Independence Monument and his Moon Dancer series of abstract paintings based on the lost masquerade traditions of St. Lucia, and the Sukuyon, a graphic novel on St. Lucia folktales. Alvin has also covered many and he has also painted many murals around St. Lucia. He is also our Vice President Education of Platinum Artistic Toastmasters Club. Let us welcome Toastmaster Alvin to the lectern at this time. Thank you. Toastmaster Alvin, over to you. You're muted.
Thank you, Madam President. My nose was getting bigger every time you read a new sentence. I thought you were talking about somebody else. Thank you, Madam President. Welcome, Toastmasters and guests, to this evening's Christmas edition of the Platinum Artistic Toastmasters Club. Our theme, Good Tidings of Comfort and Joy. Christmas is about love. Thus, our theme is aptly from the Bible. And then the angel said to them, Do not be afraid, for behold, I bring you good tidings of great joy, which will be to all people. It is also a verse from the very popular carol, God Rest You Merry Gentlemen, a popular English traditional Christmas carol. This evening, we hope to share good tidings of comfort and joy. And this is what Platinum is about. This is what Christmas is all about. A special time of love, sharing, a special enchanting and magical time of faith, culture, and renewal. This evening, we have an Art Talk spotlight on the precious classic St. Lucian Christmas song, written by the composer Charles Cadet and sung by another St. Lucian great, vocalist Lenny Stone. The song was written in memory of the writer's friend who died, a lady who loved flowers and sold poinsettia blossoms at Christmas. Sergeant at Arms, poinsettia blossoms.
Can everyone hear?
No audio.
No audio? That's strange. Oh boy.
Did you select share audio?
Yes, now, huh? Let me. Is this happening? Can you hear now?
Yes.
Yes, you can hear but not see.
That's what the problem is. Just give me a moment.
We have no video, brother.
Yeah, I know. I'm. Can you hear now? Are you hearing?
No, can you turn it up? Let's see that.
Okay. I believe there's a bug on my computer. Something is acting up. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay, there's a problem on my computer.
Juni, can you share?
Yeah.
You have to ensure you're also sharing. You're sharing your screen, but you have to also share your audio.
Yeah.
It's actually doing both, you know, and it's not working. Oh boy. And we try
Let
this.
Juni
See if I
share.
can. All right. Let's see if I can.
Right.
ginger beer, rich red sorrel, bottled waiting there, punches, puddings, cloves and spices there, cardboard lanterns, scenes of yesteryear, Christmas carols, good everywhere, only bring memories this time of year. Oh, in such a blossom, rich red bloom, how she loved those velvet Christmas blooms. Oh, in such a blossom, sweet to my love, tell her of my love, bring her back this time of year. Fall in such a blossoms, rich red rose. How she loved those velvet Christmas blues. Fall in such a blossoms, sweet my love. Tell her of my love. Bring her back to me.
Wasn't it precious? When Such a Blossoms by Charles Cadet and Nelly Stone. Without further ado, let me introduce you to a very distinguished person, our GE, the very distinguished Toastmaster, Halo, to introduce her expert team to ensure that our meeting and speeches are not only of good tidings, but well managed and of comfort and joy. Toastmaster Joni Lilo.
'Tis the season to be jolly. 'Tis the season to come together and remember the reason we are a family, a community, or those we call our loved ones. Why do we evaluate? We evaluate to improve ourselves. Why do we evaluate to motivate at Toastmasters? To ensure that when we speak and we communicate, to make it easier for those around us to understand if they've connected in the way that they desired, because it's most important in not only in communicating, but also in understanding and the delivery of the message the way we need it. I cannot, however, do this alone. And because of that, I have a team. I mean, after all, we don't only want to know how to talk to Joni. Based on that, me and my team will be evaluating this meeting. My first member of the team to keep us online is our timer. Our timer, Carol Lydia, Madam Millisecond. Could you explain your role?
Good evening. Good tidings of comfort and joy this millisecond timer brings to you. This evening, we have 4 7-minute speeches. And for that segment, I will show the green at 5, the yellow at 6, and the red at 7, which will stay up until each speaker has completed their presentation. Then there is a second segment, the table topics, and each speaker is supposed to speak for 2 minutes. 1 minute at green, 1.5 at yellow, and 2 at red, which will stay up until all speakers have completed speaking. I will give my report once I'm called upon by the general evaluator. On that note, please, I'm designated to give back over to general evaluator.
Thank you, Madam Timer. The next member of my team is our the R counter. Madam R counter Toastmaster Lynn jumping in because Toastmaster serves when called upon to do so. Could you explain your role?
Thank you very much, Madam General Evaluator. And I do not believe there is much for me to do because as we saw, our General Evaluator was gathering her thoughts in an untimely manner. And so my role this evening is to ensure that we gather our thoughts and ensure that when we say them, our minds and our mouths are speaking just about the same time. So my role this evening as your accountant is to take note of our pause fillers as so our double crutches, am, my name was, and to make a note of this and give a report at the end of the session. May I suggest that when you begin speaking, take a second, pause, and gather your thoughts before you speak to help in avoiding too many of those pause fillers and crutches, but not too long, because anytime it goes past 3 seconds, there is a void. And I will also be taking note of those, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Madam Counter, who will be also checking for those pregnant pauses along the course of our speech. Next to the virtual space, we have our grammarian. What precious insight do you have for us with your role, Toastmaster Gabrielle?
Are you able to see me and hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, excellent. So good evening, Madam Toastmaster and fellow Toastmasters and guests. So as the grammarian this evening, it is my responsibility to pay close attention to all speakers, listening carefully to their language uses. I'll be taking note of any misuse of the English language, as well as any outstanding words, quotes, sayings, and or thoughts. As grammarian, it's also my duty to introduce the word of the day. So today's word is precious. I apologize. Sorry. So today's word is precious, which means of great value, not to be wasted or treated carelessly. Used in a sentence, the opportunity for family and friends from near and far to gather and connect makes Christmas a very precious time of year.
I look forward to your report on the usage of the word of the day, as well as the notable phrases that you find precious during the course of the meeting. I will also give a report on the general, that's the G in GE, meeting occurrences. I will return control of the virtual space to our Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Joni Lidlow, for this very expert presentation by your team. As we move into the educational segment of the evening, please welcome our first evaluator, distinguished Toastmaster Yvette Lynn Duran, to present the project requirements of Toastmaster Jovens Macomb.
Toastmaster Jovens this evening will be presenting his speech, Inspire Your Audience. The purpose of this speech is for the speaker to practice writing and delivering a speech which inspires others. And his main goal this evening is to inspire the audience. The speech should be engaging, and the speaker should be entertaining and moving. He should be aware of the audience's responses and as such, adapt the speech as needed. Toastmaster of the meeting.
Thank you. Toastmaster Jovens, please proceed.
I may start?
Yes, please go ahead.
All right. How many of us desire to be confident in every situation, or have the strength to rise even when it feels like there is no hope? What about the ability to be aggressive and chase after your dreams, or have the discipline to stand by what you want and believe in? Let's not forget about bravery. How many of us want to be brave enough to fight, even if it means we have to fight alone? What I just described are some characteristics of a warrior. The warrior spirit, I believe, is ingrained in everyone. fellow Toastmasters, and honored guests. Today, we will tap into the warrior spirit so you can be aware of the warrior within you. The Merriam-Webster's definition of a warrior is a person engaged or experienced in warfare, or a person engaged in a conflict or struggle. Based on that description, I can say we face the same challenges as a warrior. Life is a big battlefield filled with mines and booby traps. And the only way to navigate through these obstacles is to tap that spirit from within, that warrior spirit where life is lived and not watched on the sidelines. Martin Luther King Jr. lived because he was brave enough to stand tall when water holes were being sprayed on him and others, fighting for freedom and justice. When the police dogs was ripping at their flesh and the police officers beating them to their last breath, they showed strength and discipline by holding fast to the vision they seen in the future. Harriet Tubman also possessed characteristics of a warrior spirit. When she was 12 years old, she was hit with a 2-pound weight that caused her a lifetime of headaches and narcolepsy because she stood in between her slave master beating an enslaved man trying to escape. That moment probably sparked the foundation of her desire to be free and freeing others. She would go on to conduct 13 missions that freed approximately 70 slaves, which is now called the Underground Railroad. Those with a warrior spirit run on a mission that has a powerful message to change the world. There is a sense of justice in fighting for something bigger than themselves. Filled with compassion, they lead by example for the betterment of others. The warrior spirit impact always attract people around it because of its impact on others. So you're probably asking, how do I tap into that warrior spirit? It's reborn when love takes center stage. You probably won't understand it, but it's love that moves the warrior spirit to act. As I mentioned earlier, the love of the people is what gave Martin Luther King the voice to fight for their causes. Harriet Tubman's warrior spirit returned when she was willing to risk her life for another. The warrior spirit, as you can see, is in every one of us. But the only way to activate that is to tap into that love. So every day that you wake up, you're going to get an opportunity to express that warrior spirit. So walk in love today, because you never know when that warrior spirit will be needed. In conclusion, the warrior spirit is a force moved by love, a love that can turn an ordinary person into something extraordinary. Dig deeper within the confines of your inner warrior. I guarantee you have yet to see the real you, which is recklessly fearless and outrageously unstoppable. Is a quote from Hala Nadad that sums up my message today. The warrior spirit is within you. So unleash it into the world, because you never know when your warrior spirit is needed. Back to you, Toastmaster today.
Thank you, Toastmaster Magon. A very apt speech. We all need the warrior spirit. Very inspirational. Thank you. As we move quickly on to our second speaker of the evening, our second speaker is Club Secretary Toastmaster Mary Bruce. Please welcome her evaluator, Toastmaster Joni Laidlow, who is a Toastmaster of all seasons. So she's just jumped into the role last minute to present the project requirements of Toastmaster Bruce's speech.
'Tis the season, 'tis the reason to learn how to connect. As I stated before, as general evaluator, communication is important. But we don't just speak to be heard, we speak to be understood. And as such, in Toastmasters, we offer feedback. But it's not only one thing to hear what persons have to say, it's also important to be able to apply it. Toastmaster Mary Bruce will be doing her level 1 project for the first speech evaluation and feedback, in which she will be giving a speech that I will evaluate. I will offer her a few tips and pointers in how to connect better with me. And as such, she will take that feedback and apply it to a future speech. Now, it can be the same speech or another speech, but the important part is to show that she listened, she evaluated herself, and she incorporated the feedback when giving another speech. And she will be doing that in 5 to 7 minutes. Back to our Toastmaster of the evening to introduce our speaker.
Welcome to the virtual lecture, Toastmaster Bruce, the beetle in my ear.
Wow, thank you. Thank you. Well, this is the Christmas season, and I'm sure a lot of people are expecting something about Christmas. But I've had this experience. This is a personal experience, which I wanted to share with members. So I say I'll go off the little Christmas for a little while and talk about the beetle in my ear, which was not a very good experience, but it was a live experience. Good evening, Toastmasters and friends. Have any one of you had the experience of a fly or insect entering into your ear? Well, this has happened to me about 3 times. But on the first couple of times, I applied a strong smelling liquid on the outer part of my ear, and the insect gets attracted to the scent and flies out voluntarily from my ear. But this time, this was not to be. One evening, I was casually walking into my bedroom, and I just heard a zwing. By the time I tried to dodge, the insect had already entered into my left ear. At first, I thought it was a fly. Then I applied the strong liquid outside of the ear, but it was not working. And then the experience began for at least 2 hours, lasted for at least 2 hours. The insect began to dance in my ear and would not fly out as I thought. Then I began to jump on the right leg with the right ear tilted to allow the insect to fly out from the left ear, but to no avail. Then I realized that I was in serious trouble. By then, with all that zwing and dancing in my ear, it became very painful and unbearable. I sought help from my son. I sought help from my son. He did not have one. By that time, I became very tired. I'm inspired. I hit the bed and lying down on my right side, hoping that this insect would fly out from the left ear. Oh no, dance began in my ear again. After some time, for some reason, I did not feel the insect again. By then, the insect died in my ear and lodged at the bottom of the ear, making it very heavy. If there is a foreign object in your ear, this must be uncomfortable. I then had to find an ear doctor to remove the dead insect from my ear. That's an operation and that's money. Wow, just so. Lo and behold, I was praying for morning time to call the doctor. We have one ear doctor in St. Lucia that I know of. The doctor was working in G4, that's another district, on that day. In desperation, I had to travel miles to see the doctor, but his secretary had already alerted him about my situation, so he was expecting me. Whilst I was on the bus, I must have been groaning as the lady sitting next to me asked me if I was okay. I said no and said I have an insect in my ear, and it is very painful. After a 1 hour drive, I finally got to the doctor. But there were two infant patients before me, so they had to be given priority. But then it was my turn. By then I was sweating and very anxious. The doctor said to me, "Are you sure it's a fly in your ear?" I said, "I think so." Then he said, "Whatever you have in your ear, I will remove it for you." Then with all that pain I had already, the doctor began to drill into my ear without numbing the area. I drilled for over 5 minutes. Then he eventually saw the dead insect and said, "But this looks like a beetle." I was relieved that he was able to extract the beetle, still whole. If not, that would be more problems to clean up the air. He then said that the beetle would never fly back out from the air as it has tentacles and forelegs and was stuck in the wax in my air. That is why it was dancing to come back out from the air and couldn't come out. He then placed a dead beetle, he removed the beetle, placed a dead beetle on a sheet of paper, but I did not even take a photo of it. I was so vexed with that creature. Oh, what a relief, even with the after drilling pain, and of course, given antibiotics for the pain and cleaned up the air one time. And all this cost me some good funds. Imagine that. So from now on, I do not want to see a beetle, dangerous little creature. When I related this experience, many people said they had the experience of a fly entering into the air, but not a beetle. So this is my contribution about the beetle in my air. And I don't know if anybody else ever had that experience, but it really was not a very nice experience. So over to you, Mr. Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mary. A very irritating problem of a beetle in your ear. I think that's a very irritating problem.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
Thank
very
you.
true.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mary. A bit away from our Christmas theme, but very interesting. Our first speaker of the evening is none other than our very own Sergeant at Arms, Toastmaster Roger Harrell. Please welcome his evaluator, Toastmaster Marie-Claude Legrand, to present the project requirements of Toastmaster Roger's speech.
Good afternoon, everyone, or good evening. It depends on where you are right now. Toastmaster, are you listening to me? Can you hear me?
Yes,
can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can, clearly.
The purpose of Toastmaster Roger's speech is to present a speech on any topic and to apply feedback received on the first speech, from the previous speech. For that, he has 5 to 7 minutes. Welcome, Toastmaster Errol, and good luck.
Toastmaster Roger, please welcome Toastmaster Roger to the virtual lectern. He's going to show us how we get our driver's license.
Okay. First of all, let's get the serious question out of the way. How many of you here right now currently have your driver's license? Show it by virtual thumbs, hands up, whatever. Let me see those driver's license. I'm seeing Toastmaster Alwyn, seeing some others. All right. This is a very precious gift that I actually got during my birth month of April. Did it over the course of the month and completed the exam 1 week before my birthday. Can you imagine that? And I thought for our last session of the year, it is important that while we spread Santa's cheers all around driving, I thought it would be important to bring about the caution points and the benefits of having your driver's license, and to also convince many of you here to get this very little precious card. Now, let's begin. So our first point, always look around your surroundings, your immediate surroundings. Why? In driving school, they taught us it is very important to always look around. You're not driving for yourself, but you're driving for everyone around you. Driver in front and the driver behind. Now with technology, as you can see, we have many ways to look around. However, it is that same technology that gets us distracted. For example, just the 10th of December, 10 days into the month, we had a bad accident here in St. Lucia. And most of the time, it's because people are distracted on their phone, social media, or even taking calls on the busy highways. So you can imagine the traffic and the chaos that caused. I can tell you for sure, road accidents are very common here in St. Lucia, especially when you have rowdy drivers and you have the lamewals. Now, some of you may be asking, what's a lamewal? Well, that's a Creole term for those who just bought their license and up to this day and age, they still cannot drive properly on the road. So I am giving a call to action to everybody here to promote safe driving because it saves lives, not just yours, but mine, everybody else's, as well as animals as well. Now, we go on to our next one. What are the benefits of having your driver's license? Well, I realized that apart from driving all over the island, you can be self-employed or go into various businesses. If you want a new change of business or just a new area to go into, apart from the 9 to 5, you can start your own company. So for example, the trucking industry. The average truck driver in the US makes $4,741. The industry alone, as of last year, made 875 million. Now, in the Caribbean, we are making billions like that, but I'm pretty sure you can make a lot of money in trucking. Why? Because there is always a need to transport goods and services. And they are always looking for people. Now, it depends on the country that you're in, for how many years before you drive a truck. But think of it. You can get into this job very easily and you can start earning and driving around. And it makes you an experienced driver at the end of the day. Right? So on to my next area where we talk more about the different driving jobs. You have the taxi service and you have the rental service. Now, these two areas right now in St. Lucia, as I'm talking from the St. Lucian perspective, it is very essential. Why, you may ask? Simple. It is because with our current bus system, it is almost impossible to get where you want to go on time. Think of it. For those of us in St. Lucia who have experienced the bus system, you have reckless driving. Sometimes you have to wait forever to get a bus. Sometimes, depending on the time of the day, you actually forget where your bus stop is because you're sleeping on the bus. Now, you don't want that to happen, of course, right? So these alternative services are good in that it brings you on time and you're in a nice air-conditioned vehicle, right? Who wouldn't love that? Now, you can also start this job as a self-employed business. As long as you have a good vehicle, holds 3 or more people, you can start your own company. Same thing with the trucking. You can start your own company and you can earn money on your own time. Imagine that, having a few extra dollars for the Christmas. I know all my friends are doing it too. So you can imagine these guys have a little more money than me to spend, especially on rum and ham, right? So let's go to my third point, being independent, right? Right now, if you have that card and you in the Christmas season, trust me, you are considered a very, very popular man. Why? Because everybody's going to ask you to have a rental. And you're going to feel like the boss because you driving everywhere. You can decide where you want to go and how you want to do it at what time of the night. You're not going to be the third wheel. You're not going to be like the referee with 2 people deciding on where to go. You that's in charge, right? And imagine the kind of confidence and boost that gives you right now. I know for me, when I get mine, I know I drive in everywhere. But always remember, drive safely, right? And when you have this card as well, I'm going to show it again. When you have this card as well, depending on the type of ride that you have, whether it's automatic or manual, you get introduced to different clubs. The Toyota, the Lexus, whatever. And I like to bring up this meme where your reaction when you see someone drives the same exact car as you. It's a man of class. It's a good network to be. At the end, I brought up all of these things to show you the different opportunities, the networks, the horizons, the things that this card can bring to you. And I would encourage every one of you, if you have not done the exam, please do it. Please do it a little bit after Christmas if you can, or make it your New Year's resolution. wish list. Make it on that wish list for 2020. Please, thank you and Merry Christmas. And please, everybody, drive safely on the road. Thank you. Toastmaster Lady.
Thank you. Thank you, Toastmaster Roger. You a very almost scary thing about getting your driver's license, because this time of year, it is very tough for guys to get a driver's license, but very nice about looking at these jobs in the US. Driving jobs are amazing. Thank you. Very informative. Christmas is about love, and it is something that we take for granted. They say all you need is love. And if we had love and respect, there would be no wars. As in this poem by Derek Walcott, Love After Love, which incidentally is Oprah Winfrey's favorite poem. It goes, love after love all your life, whom you have ignored for another, who knows you by heart. Take down the love letters from the bookshelf, the photographs, the desperate notes. Peel your own image from the mirror. Sit, feast on your life. It continues. The time will come when with elation, you will greet yourself arriving at your own door, in your own mirror, and each will smile at each other's welcome. From Sir Derek Walcott, on the poem Love After Love. Our final speaker for the evening is another very distinguished Toastmaster, Madam President, Toastmaster Marcellus Santoma. Please welcome to the virtual lectern to grace us with a Christmas message. But first, let's welcome her evaluator, Toastmaster Jasmine Smith, to present her project requirements, the project requirements of Toastmaster Santoma's speech. Toastmaster Jasmine.
Thank you, Toastmaster Alwyn. Greetings, fellow Toastmasters and guests. This afternoon, Toastmaster Marcella will be doing the evaluation and the feedback project from the Leadership Development Path, speech number 2. The objective of her speech is to do a delivery based on the feedback she received from speech number 1. She will have 5 minutes to complete this presentation. In her last speech, her evaluator shared that she should focus on vocal variety. So today, during this speech, we will listen out for her vocal variety. It means that we will listen out for the volume, loudness or softness. We will listen out for the pitch, the rise or the fall. We listen out for the pace at which she's speaking, and also for the appropriate pauses. Please. Oh, over to you, Toastmaster Alwyn.
Thank you. Let's welcome to the virtual lecture, Madam President Marcellus Santoma, with her President's theme presentation. Toastmaster Santoma.
'Tis the season to be jolly. Christmas is a time for family, friends, gifts, love, magic. The magic of Christmas signifies loving, caring, sharing. It's a time to be harmonious, festive, in a good mood, a great feeling. Festive cheer brings joy to the community. while we indulge in the good food, ginger wine, sorrel, black cake. It's also a relaxing time as we listen to the caroling, the hymns. I love the song Poinsettia Blossom. It's my favorite song at this time of year. As the holidays become closer and we approach the Christmas Day, you may be looking for a little extra inspiration to get you in the Christmas spirit. My fellow precious Toastmasters and guests, on behalf of the Platinum Artistic Toastmasters Club, I wish you a Merry Christmas. I wish you all the best for the holidays, all the best for this season to spend time with family, to have fun, to relax. This is what I wish you for the holidays. And a Merry Christmas and a bright and prosperous New Year, 2023. As we reflect on 2022, many of us are happy to have reached the end of the year. Yes, it might have been challenging. Lots of us went through challenging times during the year. But at this time, let us put everything on the back burner. Fortunately for us, many of us must have achieved our goals as well and are feeling pretty happy at this time. I implore you to try your best to pursue your goals and ensure that you pursue your resolutions and take it seriously. Most of us at the end of the year, we have many, many resolutions, everything that we'd like to achieve throughout the year. But as time goes along, something or the other may happen, challenging times, and we kind of forget about our goals, which is why I would like to encourage you, Toastmasters, to achieve everything that you plan for 2023. One of my highlights for this Christmas season was attending an opening of a restaurant where Toastmaster Alwyn's paintings were displayed and exhibited at that event. It was just very exciting to see the paintings of the masquerade, which is also masquerade is also celebrated at Christmas time. And Toastmaster Alwyn has a very deep love for that kind of passion, which he shares with everyone, the history and the story about the masquerade. We believe that it's a dying art in St. Lucia, but Alwyn is trying to keep this going, keep this tradition alive. And we, in Platinum Artistic Toastmasters, we try to encourage him every effort and every time that we can do this. Also, I experienced a toy drive, which was being held at a TV station. It broke my heart to realize that at Christmas, many children may not be as happy as we believe. There are parents who at times cannot afford to even buy a toy for a child and make them happy and put a smile on their face. I encourage you, Toastmasters, if there's anything that you can do to put a smile on a child's face this year, the child may never forget it. Children don't forget when people do things like that for them. They remember it for a very, very long time. So I was very happy to see this TV station, the Caribbean Hot 7 TV station, going all around the island and giving a child a toy over the weekend. That was commendable. I also love the fact that there are companies, corporate companies, who go to the old people's homes and give the old people a hot meal. This I found for Christmas should last forever. And I like to encourage companies, and maybe next year, we at Platinum Artistic Toastmasters Club can do the same and take hot meals to the elderly and put a smile on their face. As I conclude, I would like to wish you every success this holiday season. Enjoy your Christmas. Enjoy everything that you do with your family and friends. Merry Christmas, distinguished Toastmasters and friends. Cheers. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Madam President. Cheers. Thank you for your essential and very warm Christmas message. And it is true. Christmas is a time of giving, as Christmas waves a special magic wand over the world. And behold, everything is softer and more beautiful. A quote from Norma Vincent Peale. And now we have come to the table topic section, the most exciting part of the meeting, where guests and members will have the opportunity to practice the impromptu speaking. And to lead this session is none other than another very extraordinary and distinguished Toastmaster. Please welcome to the virtual lecture the very distinguished and experienced poet, photographer, writer, Toastmaster, Clyde Boyd.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster of the evening. Hello, Toastmasters and guests. Do you have a ready mind and a quick wit? Precious are these human qualities, because every time you open your mouth, every time you engage your tongue, you are betraying to the whole world what metal you're made of. Welcome to Table Topics. The most topical subject in the universe at this time is, and we can complete that, is Christmas. Hence, today's Table Topics will be focusing on our experiences of Christmas. I will share my screen with you now as we engage today's feature. Oh, it's disabled. Can I be allowed to share my screen? In the meantime, let me try again. Fine, here we are. The first thing is to remind ourselves of the rules. It's really a fortunate thing we do when we speak, because we don't always get to prepare speeches when we're walking down the road. We have to have an answer or be ready to contribute to a conversation when we meet with others. We can't prepare those beforehand and write them down. So today, as we enjoy the season of goodwill, bringing good tidings and comfort and joy to everyone, these are the rules of the game. First of all, time allowed is 1 to 2 minutes. The minimum speaking time is 1 minute to be qualified. The maximum speaking time is 2 minutes. You're at risk when you go over 2 minutes, but you may continue for 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And the ideal, perhaps, the safe time is 1 minute and 30 seconds. Final rule is that you must try to incorporate the word of the day in your delivery. You know that word, precious, just like this moment, because now we're going to go into the first topic. And let me tell you how it's done today, a little differently. I have an audio clip along with a photo, a picture. And after you've heard it, I will just highlight what the theme is and name the speaker. Here we go.
On the first day of Christmas, my true love gave to me.
Festival of Lights. I need to know whether you're hearing me though. Did you hear the clip? Did you hear the music? Just somebody show me a hand. You did?
Yes, we did.
Okay. Festival of Lights. And this goes to Dwight Jules. It's your experience. So speak about it. Dwight Jules, Festival of Lights. Precious are the moments. If Dwight is not engaging us, can we move along then? I ask Francesca Louis to take this one.
Why?
Francesca Louis, Festival of Lights. These are traditions of our various countries that are involved on this platform.
She said that her mic is not working. You may have to pick someone else.
Okay, I go down the line then. What about Hazel Fletcher? This in particular is a Lucian festival. So then, if I get no one, could I ask for a volunteer from St. Lucia to speak on this topic? Festival of Lights.
I've never been to that.
Go ahead, please.
Festival of Lights. I live in the Cayman Islands, where there's lights all over the place. Lights start going up from November, and there is a competition to see who has the best light. And so when Christmas comes, there is visitation to all of these sites to see who has the best light. The roundabout has lights. There is a boat light flashing, precious light flashing all over the place. It is so beautiful to see these lights, red, green, gold, yellow, sparkling music. And it's a pleasure as we wait in anticipation every Christmas season to see these festival of light, festival of both lights, festival of lights in the homes, festival of lights in the roundabout, festival of lights everywhere you can think of. It is so beautiful. It's one of the attractions that we have here at Christmas time, because there's not a lot of entertainment here. So in December, November, December, there is this anticipation for us to see these precious lights as we get together with our family to visit these lights and to talk about these lights and to communicate together with these lights and to fellowship with these lights. It's Festival of Lights in Christmas, Cayman Island style. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Hazel Fletcher, for sharing the excitement with us. Of course, we recognize that we have festivals of lights in various of our islands. We move on to topic number 2.
On the second day of Christmas, my true love gave to me.
I give you bamboo bursting. I land you back in St. Lucia. Do we have a volunteer, or do I take the name I have here? I have Francesca Louis. I recognize that most of us in the room are occupied already, but then I have no one else to choose from. So I was about to hear a voice. Please go ahead.
Good evening, Toastmasters. Bamboo bursting. In Dominica, we call that boo. And you would stay from a distance and hear this boom song. Then you wonder, what is happening? And then you realize it's the young men having fun at Christmas time. But for me, it is sometimes a little frightening, the song, except we often see them walking down the road, missing an eyelash over here, missing a patch of hair over there. Or sometimes they get burnt on the feast because they would pour the kerosene in the bamboo, light a match, and blow. It is fun for them. It is sometimes a little frightening for the children and the elderly, but it is definitely the song of Christmas. And I think this is the natural bandits that they buy. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Lynn D. I guess Jamaica is too hot by itself. We don't have this one. We have never heard of it until seeing it in another country. So we probably should experiment in the future, but we don't know bamboo bursting. Our next topic.
On the third day of Christmas, my true love gave to me.
I give you house to house. Now this can be any one of us who would like to speak on house to house. Yes, that the experience that we have at Christmas time. I do have a name here, and I recognize that she is already speaking, but our president, or we could have Jovens Macombe, who has already spoken.
Pastor Francois Bowen raised her hand, so I believe
Francois, thank you. Francois, please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Tabletop Topic Master. On the third day of Christmas, I remember growing up and people with house walking, definitely we will be leaving. Visited an elderly house, and while at that elderly house alone, and having us the young people was a joy for her. And Kool-Aid. Yes. So the big cracker feel unwelcome. We felt welcome.
Are you at the end, Toastmaster Boy? I know that there are problems with the resources. I think that sounds like it's an end, though. Hence, thank you very much, Toastmaster Francois Bowen. We move on to topic number 4.
On the fourth day of Christmas, my true love gave to me.
I give you Junkunu. Who would like to take this one? I think all our islands have some form of Junkunu. Do we have a volunteer for this one? Otherwise, I call Carla, Andrea, Isaacs. Carla? Okay, so can somebody state this first, please?
Yes, I can take it.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Please go ahead.
The masquerade tradition is something that is close to my heart, and it is something that I grew up as a child. Christmas would be a warm, magical time that you look for the whole year towards getting your toys and stuff like that. But in St. Lucia, at Christmas, we had a tradition of the street theater of the masquerade, and they would start practicing in as early as November. You could hear them by the market, the masquerades, and then the most fearsome of all, the toes practicing by the Cassius market. But as I grew up, these characters made Christmas very interesting because I also wonder who were they? There was the pie banana, the toes, very colorful, and it was always a pizza until they disappeared. They would perform for the rich and the poor, but I found out much later that they were really a silent rebellion emanating from slavery, as the slaves used to use the mass tradition as a link to Africa whenever the plantation owners allowed any form of celebration. They would put on the mask, although it no longer meant birth, death, or marriage traditions. So this is my look at the masquerade, John Canoe in the Northern Islands.
Thank you, Toastmaster St. Elma. And I just got a message from Toastmaster Francois that she fell off the platform. I hope that she fulfilled the minimum time at least so she can still be evaluated successfully. Our next topic, number 5.
On the 5th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me.
I give you black cake. And I've just admitted you, Toastmaster Keshron Walters. Would you take this one? Black cake, Keshron Walters. Keshron Walters, black cake.
Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yes. Please proceed.
Thank you. You wouldn't believe that it was the 5th day of Christmas that my brothers and I decided to go walking house to house. We wanted black cake. My mother was famous for making a nice plain cake and a nice fruit cake. But in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, black cake is made not only with black wine, but also with strong rum. As young men, we just started to have a little taste for alcohol. So on the 5th day of Christmas, we went in search of this precious spirit, in this precious commodity, black cake. We turned up at the house of a nice church sister who we knew had a penchant for nice black cake. And we knocked, "Sister Gittens, you home?" No response. Knock, 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 Sister Gittens. She was there. So we got in, and guess what? We got our fill of black cake. But at the very next house, we went to Sister Pitt. Guess what she did? She hid all the black cake. She hid all the ham. She hid all the drinks, and we got nothing. We went right back home. The end. Thank you very much. Back to you, Table Topics Master.
I thank you very much, Toastmaster Keshron. And that seems to be taking us to the end of our time. I don't think that the few seconds we have will be able to afford us another topic. Hence, I give you the final.
You can do another one. You can do another one. You have 3 minutes.
Okay. Thanks. I have to backtrack. Oh my, I've gone ahead. I have to stop sharing and go back. Let me stop sharing just for a while and then do one more. Here we go.
On the 6th day of Christmas, my true love came to me.
I'm muted, oh my goodness. Oh, I thought I was muted. Let me just state that again. I apologize.
On the 6th day of Christmas, my true love came to me.
I give you Grand Market, and I call on Toastmaster Vinette Allen to take this one. And if not, perhaps another Jamaican. Toastmaster Joni, I know you're wearing octopus hands already. Would you take this one still?
I wouldn't be able to, but with Toastmaster, do I be able to take this one?
Okay. Toastmaster Dwight.
If there's nobody, I'll take it, but I don't have a timer.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Grand Market, Grand Market, Grand Market. Oh, that was fun for Christmas Eve night. Our mother, as children, would take us, see all the goods on the ground. And she would say, see, but don't touch. And we would say, but Mom, we want a doll. We want a lollipop. And she said, no, 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 no. You're just here to watch and entertain yourself. But guess what? There would always be music. So while you're walking in the crowded streets, you could dance and bop and weave to the beat of the Caribbean music, some soca, some calypso, some dancehall, and even Christian Christmas carols. So the mixture of music made our day and night at Grand Market beautiful. Also, the different stalls, the decorations, the different goods. Oh, it was so beautiful to see. And then the lights that come on. But most of all, it would be Santa Claus in the donkey cart coming down the King Street and children running behind him and said, Santa, Santa. And they would take him to Times Square where we would all line up to have us chat with Santa and what we would want Christmas Eve night. But overall, it was a grand affair. And if we all remember, Grand Market was a link to our slavery days, when the slaves would all come together on that evening to exchange of goods, sell goods, different things that they'd wear. But as again, merrymaking, the drum beating, the music, the dances, the celebration. And some nights, even the junglers would come out and perform. Back to you, Hip Topic Master.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Carol. And that takes us then to the final slide.
I'm sorry, but you're out of time.
Yes, the final slide is saying, thank you all for participating, and I return control to Mr. Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Boyd. I think we need to give him a hand of applause for very exciting, interesting table topics, essentially based on St. Lucian and Caribbean Christmas traditions. Truly an inspiring walk down memory lane. Thank you. Also, the reason that St. Lucia does the Festival of Lights happens to be the only country in the world named after a woman, St. Lucy, the saint of light and renewal. At this time, as we move swiftly along, let me reintroduce a very distinguished Toastmaster, Joni Lidlow, our general evaluator and her expert team, to tell us how well we all did this evening. Toastmaster Lidlow, the virtual lecture is yours.
Thank you, our Toastmaster of the evening. Let me start by asking our timer. How did we do for time with our speeches and our table topics?
Time is precious, just like Christmas. With that, it gives me great honor to give my report. Evaluator Durand, she gave her introduction at 50 seconds and 9400 of a second. Toastmaster Macombi spoke for 4 minutes, 53 seconds, and 2700 of a second. Toastmaster Joni, in her introduction, spoke for 1 minute, 15 seconds, 8200 of a second, and Toastmaster Mary spoke for 4 minutes, 49 seconds, 5200 of a second. Toastmaster Marie spoke for 1 minute and 3800 of a second, while Toastmaster Roger completed his speech in 7 minutes, 1 second, 6100 of a second. Toastmaster Jasmine, she spoke for 1 minute, 20 seconds, 1400 of a second, And Toastmaster myself completed her speech 6 minutes 44 seconds and 5100 of a second. For the table topic segment, it was for 15 minutes, last for 15 minutes. Toastmaster Hazel, she spoke for 1 minute, 53 seconds and 9200 of a second. Toastmaster Lindy spoke for 1 minute, 4 seconds, 1500 of a second. Toastmaster Francois spoke for 1 minute, 19 seconds, 9900 of a second. Toastmaster Alwyn, 1 minute, 43 seconds, 1700 of a second. A.D. Kezron spoke for 1 minute, 37 seconds, 1500 of a second. I did not time myself. Back to you, Tim, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Madam Timer. Next to our virtual lectern, we're doing a bit of juggling from the agenda. My apologies, as one of my evaluators may have to be off the platform. And I know I see Toastmaster Roger on rearing to get his evaluation. Distinguished Toastmaster Marie, or is it prospective Distinguished Toastmaster Marie, what did you find precious about the speech that Toastmaster Roger gave?
Good evening again, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Toastmaster Errol, are you listening?
Yes.
Yes. Toastmaster Errol, you have showed your leadership skills through finding a way to use the feedbacks very well. And that is something you need to keep up with. So, but I would suggest that next time you work more on one of the suggestions given is as the framing. You are supposed to be framed to the maximum. I'm not saying that you're supposed to show your shoes or your pants or your slacks, but you need to show your chest, because chest tucks, and also the palm of your hand. This is the only thing that I would suggest from the recommendations given. Apart from that, you did a great job following the recommendation. Toastmaster Johnny's recommendation were well ordered, well followed. Except that I would suggest something else. When you have a very well structured and very well documented project and speech like that, please name your sources and give the date. Because you had a lot of numbers, a lot of facts. I would suggest that next time you also name the source. Where have you taken these pieces of information that were really precious, but we want to know? All right. And then also you made a wonderful call to action all through your speech. And then at the end, you tighten up your conclusion, as she said, except that you put your Merry Christmas somewhere before the last sentence. It was supposed to be the last sentence. So then we know you finished talking. Apart from that, you did a great job that, like I said, and keep it up. You way more than an ordinary leader and speaker. Over to you, Mrs. the General Evaluator. And thanks for the permission.
You are most welcome, and thank you for agreeing to evaluate, to motivate. And I do believe, Toastmaster Roger, show me a thumbs up if you feel all motivated. And I take it that means Platinum has one more level 1 under the belt. There we go. Congratulations, Toastmaster Roger. Next to our virtual lectern, we will be having the evaluator now. So now we're back in order. For our first speech, Toastmaster Yvette will be evaluating Toastmaster Juvenet, and I hope I did not ruin your beautiful name. The lectern is
Toastmaster Juvenet, a great speech this evening. The warrior spirit. You began your speech with a quote, and that allowed me to wonder, because I was actually captivated. What was the essence of that speech? And as you developed the speech, I got entrenched in it. It was really well developed. You gave us two very prominent persons, Martin Luther King Jr. and Harriet Tubman, and told us how they expressed their warrior spirit, how they used that to help those around them. And you showed us that being a warrior is having love for those around you and using that passion to assist others. You stood to present, and that was very commendable. You spoke with confidence. There was no stammer, no stutter. The speech was clear. There was great content, well-developed presentation. A few recommendations for improvement is to monitor your time. So you were short of your minimum time, sorry. You spoke for 4 minutes, 53 seconds. And it should have been for a minimum of 5 minutes. The vocal variety. You had such a powerful presentation. Use your voice to inspire us some more. Help us to think, or help us to take some action as you speak. Your voice actually engages your audience some more. And that's another thing, to engage your audience in your presentation. Have them think about someone who may have had that warrior spirit who impacted them, and give a call to action that would allow the audience to not only think about what was being said, but to think of ways that we can impact what you have told us. But I love that presentation. From the time you started speaking, you had me captured, and I am not sure about the audience, but I know I was. And you did inspire me to become a warrior. A great presentation, and I do look forward to listening to more from you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Our Lady, who is wearing multiple hats at this meeting, Toastmaster Yvette Lynn. Just a point of information that I don't think everyone holds precious. We have 30 minutes before and 30 minutes after the recommended time, which means that in all technicality, they did qualify. However, we do suggest trying to speak as much as possible, and hence I agree with you as it relates to falling short on the time. But we do have a 30-minute grace period before and a 30-minute grace period after.
Did you mean 30 seconds, Madam General Evaluator?
That is exactly what I meant, Toastmaster Clyde. I said minutes, didn't I? 'Tis the season. My brain froze over apparently. It's 30 seconds before and after. So it's 4:30 to 7:30 technically, but we prefer to fall within the 5 to 7 minute range. But once 4:30 is hit, time requirement. But I loved your evaluation, and I know you evaluated to motivate. I know Toastmaster Javanese will give me a thumbs up that he is ready and rearing for the next speech. Thumbs up? All right, I see a smile. That works as well. There we go. There is a thumbs up. We evaluate to motivate. Next to our virtual lectern, we will be having none other than, well, me. So I'm going to change the side that this is on. Toastmaster wears many hats, and it's over here. Now I have the evaluator. Toastmaster Mary, I enjoyed your speech. Humor is an integral part in sharing your message. Comedy, after all, is just tragedy given time. And I know that we have all been in a situation where something horribly traumatic happened to us, in your case, a beetle in the ear, that it's a bit difficult to process at the time because the concept of all you have to spend and all that you have to do. But with time, you found the humor, and nothing helps us get over a hard time like finding the humor in a situation. I appreciated your tone and your pace because your conversational nature in how you spoke to us and tried to connect with us made it feel as if you were relaying this, but in a relatable fashion. And it always helps that whenever you're doing a topic that may come off as possibly traumatic and a bit comedic, that we find a way to relate to each other. How would I suggest that you make this speech better? Our words are what we use to provide images. And a lot of the details would help. I like the fact that you use personal stories, but how about the excruciating pain I felt? I tried to get it out. I put stuff in there. I shake. That, your body language and movement increases the impact that we have. Now, I will never tell anyone not to read because I tell everybody, my first set of speeches, I was attached to a laptop like this. However, what I would suggest is instead of writing the speech, because you're using personal stories, to do bullet points, case in point. Make a note, give story about the beetle. After all, you lived it, you're going to remember it. And when you're talking about it, it's more likely that you will gesticulate, if not stop in reading. It's more likely that when you're sharing your story from memory, you will be more likely to look at us, connect with us, and engage in movement. Again, I loved your pace, your tone, the nature of what it was. Yuletide, very hilarious, precious moments of how we get over an unfortunate situation that we did not foresee. Work on your body language, work on making bullet points so that we can connect more with offering you some eye contact and not deflecting to your paperwork. And I do believe that will make this speech more punchy and impactful. And remember, the punchline is all about the build up. So build us up to the beetle and don't just throw it there. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator. All right, so General Evaluator, back to the other side. Now, I can't see Toastmaster Mary, but I'm assuming that I evaluated to motivate, and she is ready to do her second speech because what is precious for us is we're almost one more level one down. So Toastmaster Mary, I know you're rearing and ready at your first opportunity to go ahead and redo the speech. Can I have a thumbs up for that? Awesome. Next to the virtual space, we have Toastmaster Jasmine, who will be evaluating Madam President and telling us about the precious moment she took from her speech.
Where is Toastmaster Marcella?
I'm here.
Oh, I'm trying to see you. Okay, I'm not seeing you, but let me go ahead. Yes, you are there. Toastmaster Marcella, a Christmas message. I enjoyed your speech thoroughly. It was not just a message that you share because it's Christmas, but it was a message, how I felt, it was a message from the heart. Toastmaster Marcella, you are a precious gem. For this presentation, we were to look at vocal variety. I picked it up. When you started and when you went on to say, Christmas is a time for family, friends, gifts, love, magic. I felt it. My fellow precious Toastmasters and guests, on behalf of the Platinum Artistic Toastmasters Club, I wish for you a Merry Christmas. I wish you all the best for the holidays. You were believable. You were authentic. And that is what separates sometimes, I believe, for me, speakers as opposed to speakers who speak from the heart. You were clear. You spoke with clarity, so I could understand all that you said. There were some precious memories from your speech that you highlighted that I love. How you, the hot meals for the elderly and giving a child a gift, get that smile for Christmas. And you were encouraging at the end, encouraging us to enjoy our Christmas. But there are two areas that I want to share with you, how you could grow. Your gestures. Your gestures could have been more appropriate. So for everything that you were saying, I'm getting this one thing. And also the flowers in your hand was just a little bit too distracting for me. Even though I love your attire, you're looking really beautiful. But just work on your gestures. They could have been more appropriate for your speech. So I want to challenge you quickly. I want to challenge you to keep working on your vocal variety. I picked it up in this speech, but I really want you to continue to work on your vocal variety and to challenge yourself to improve on your gestures. Overall, it was a wonderful speech. I was touched by your speech. It came from the heart. Keep giving speeches like that, where it comes from the heart. Over to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jasmine, for that evaluation. From the heart, and as you can see, President Marcella has her emojis up, and you can see it. It's glowing. That says you did motivate her with your evaluation, and that is very important. Next to our virtual lectern, we now have Madam R Counter. Are you going to, you don't have the Santa hat to flip. So what are we going to do? Change our hairstyle, Madam R Counter, with your report? Did we lose our R Counter? No, I see her on platform. That's why I say Bethany. All right, while we wait on Madam R Counter, who may be having some technical difficulties, let us move to our grammarian, who will let us know how preciously we incorporated the word of the day into our vocabulary.
Are you able to hear me and see me? Alrighty, so as per usual, we are a talented batch of Toastmasters who deliver engaging, dynamic, and overall excellent speeches. This evening, most Toastmasters did pay attention to their use of language. There were a few misuses of contractions. One example would have been in the sentence, its impact on others, when it could have been its impact on others. And police dogs was ripping their flesh, when I believe they probably meant their flesh. I believe that the word of the day was used over 14 times for the evening. And for the most part, like I mentioned, a majority of us did keep mind of our use of language.
And how many times did we utilize the word of the day?
I'm sorry, 18, my mistake. I'm sorry, 18 times.
18. Wow, all right.
From start to finish.
I'm going to make it 20. I'm going to make it 20. Don't worry. Precious.
There we go.
Of your attention. There you go. 19, which showed your attention to detail and your listening skills. And thank you for picking out notable phrases and also for not only picking out what was bad, but also letting persons know the way that they can improve by providing that kind of information. Thank you, Madam Grammarian. Quite a precious report.
Yeah, there you go, 20.
Next to the virtual lectern, we now have our counter back. Did you go to change your hairstyle? Were you clipping up your hair to make sure it was different? This is why we had our delay. Let me know how you did with your art.
Thank you very much, Madam GE. And I must say this evening, congratulations to all of our speakers. They were indeed very diligent in and being mindful about their pause fillers. The prepared speakers were flawless. It may have been my ear was not that attuned, or you spoke very well because I heard no pause fillers, no ums, no uhs, and that was very, very well executed. Kudos. In our table topic session, I heard a few persons with some, there were two ums, there was one there was one long pause while our speaker gathered their thoughts, and I heard a this is, but then, but it. Other than that, the speeches were very well executed, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Madam Arcota, for not only wearing multiple hats and filling in when called upon to do so, but for also listening so keenly. What would my tip be for you next time? Call them, loud them out. If they're doing it, they deserve to be known, especially since I know my name might be on that list. So, you know, we are going to call names so that for future reference, we will not be hiding or removing the name to protect the guilty. We will ensure that they know they were eyeing and umming so that they can be more self-aware moving on in the future. But thank you for your attention to detail and your willingness to take on multiple roles in our meeting. Madam Timer, Madam Millisecond, may I have your final report?
Thank you very much. Toastmaster Evelyn, she spoke for 2 minutes, 36 seconds, and 6100 of a second. Distinguished Toastmaster Joni spoke for 2 minutes, 58 seconds, and 6800 of a second. Toastmaster Marie spoke for 2 minutes, 40 seconds, and 8500 of a second. And Toastmaster Jasmine spoke for 3 minutes, 26 seconds, and 8200 of a second. The grammarian spoke for 48 seconds and 8600 of a second. And the art counter, she spoke for 1 minute, 6 seconds, and 2700 of a second. And I'd like to use this opportunity to wish everyone Merry Christmas, and please to make every moment be precious as we celebrate each day, each minute, each second. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Madam Millisecond Timer. We did not start on time, my fault. Our functionaries were not in place, and as such, we did not do what we normally do, which is start with the appropriate time. However, the reason for that was to get persons in place, and as such, for future reference, Platinum, I would suggest that we, Joni, I'm talking to you, make sure that our team is in place well before the 5 o'clock start to ensure that we have a start on time. Our evaluators evaluated to motivate and showed a sense of detail and a precious view of their roles. For table topics, I do have a couple of suggestions. First, I would state that it helps to stop sharing the presentation during the interim, because then we don't get to see the speaker, because then they just become a little squidgy box because we're focused on the presentation. So we can table topic stuff. I really enjoyed it though, and I love the incorporation of music and PowerPoint and multimedia. I also realized that you probably didn't have the participant screen up, which is why you could not notice the persons that were there. Whenever you're sharing via PowerPoint, that tends to happen, and I would suggest asking someone to act as your chat monitor in a way that I did, so I could monitor for you, but it didn't seem like an interruption or would not seem like an interruption. Because whenever we incorporate multimedia, sometimes it becomes difficult to see the other things that are happening. All of our table topic speakers who were brave enough to step up did an excellent job at taking on the role of impromptu speaking. And to our Vice President Education, I would recommend adding a table topics evaluator just for that part, so they can also be evaluated to be motivated. The agenda had a few changes that were required to be made, and as such, Madam General Evaluator, this is to you again. You need to learn how to pass these motions to ask for these changes and not just inflict them on everyone. But we will learn as we move forward. Overall, we had a wonderful meeting, Platinum Artistics. 'Tis the season, 'tis the reason. We evaluated to motivate, and it was a theme throughout the entire thing. Did you notice all of our speeches were evaluation and feedback? Was I the only one who saw that pattern? Yes, they were. Because it fell in the theme. Overall, lovely meeting, and I look forward to great things at Platinum Artistic with their level ones down, but still pressing on. Back to you, our Toastmaster of the Evening.
Thank you, thank you. Toastmaster Lilo, this was very professionally done, entertaining general evaluation session. Very concise evaluations. Wonderful job by yourself and your team. Let's all give them a special hand of applause. Also, we now have both Toastmaster Roger and Madam President achieving level ones this evening. Most precious to the Platinum Artistic Toastmasters Club. And now, in my conclusion, I quite enjoyed this evening's meeting. I believe we had a really magical time as we shared good tidings of comfort and joy. And as I began, this is what Christmas is all about. A special, very precious time of love, sharing, a special enchanting, magical time, a time of faith, culture, and renewal. Remember, if Christmas isn't found in your hearts, you won't find it under a tree. That's a quote by someone named Charlotte Carpenter. Merry Christmas, everyone. Merry Christmas. Please welcome to the virtual lectern our president, Marcelo Santoma.
Raise your glass, everyone. 'Tis the season. There you go, Carolinia. 'Tis the season to be jolly. Good tidings and comfort. Good tidings of comfort and joy. Wow, what a beautiful meeting this evening. Our final meeting this year. It was an awesome meeting. I say thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Toastmaster Alvin, for being our Toastmaster of the meeting. You were awesome. You did an awesome job. Thank you. As usual, always a pleasure. Thank you, Toastmaster Joni, DTM, Joni. Thanks for the wonderful job this evening. Toastmaster Clive Bowen, sorry, for the wonderful job which he did with the table topic segment this evening. It was wonderful. I think I know everything about Christmas, but this evening, I just couldn't come forward. I must have been a bit nervous, but wonderful job as usual. Thank you, Area Director Kezron Walters, for attending our meeting. Always a pleasure to have you. All our functionaries this evening, wonderful job. Thank you so much. Can we raise a toast again and say Merry Christmas? Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Thank you. Looking forward to seeing everyone in the new year. Happy New Year 2023. Thanks again. Congratulations to all the speakers this evening, and also Toastmaster Roger Harrell. Wow, my mentee.
Yes, yes, yes.
Congratulations,
everybody.
Toastmaster Harrell, for attaining your level 1 this evening. Thank you, Toastmaster Jovens, for presenting at our club this evening. Toastmaster Jovens have been following us from the inception of Platinum Artistic Toastmasters Club. He's also a member in our chat, in our group chat. So thanks for following us. Great job. Thanks you, Dwight. Thank you, Toastmaster Hazel. Our good friend Valerie, one of these days she'll say something, as well as Toastmaster Francesca Louis. Let's hope that the next time your mic will be in order and you can say something. Toastmaster Carla, thanks for being here. Toastmaster Jasmine Smith, thank you, and thank you for the wonderful evaluation. And I'm sure I will work on everything that you said this evening. Thank you so much. Thank you, DTM Lindy. Thank you. Yes. Toastmaster Clive, thanks. Okay, at this
Pleasure,
point,
Madam.
Madam President, I see our area director is here.
Yes, he is. So, area director, would you like to say a few words?
Good night, good night. Good night to everyone. It's always good to be with you guys at the Platinum Artistic Toastmasters Club. Really loved the meeting this afternoon. We had really good speeches from the first motivational speech that spoke about the Underground Railroad. I really loved that one. Well done, Toastmaster Juvened. I'm not sure if you're still here. Thank you to everyone for giving of your service, all of the executive members, all of the Toastmasters here. We've had a great year so far, and I want to wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I'm looking forward to great things from the Platinum Artistic Toastmasters Club in 2023. Cheers! Happy New Year, Merry Christmas to everyone.
Thank you, Area Director President Walters. Thanks for attending our meeting this evening. Always a pleasure. Toastmaster Clive. You muted.
Ah, sorry, yes.
There you go.
I'm hearing you. I heard you though. It was a pleasure to be here. It's really like 2 in a row because Trailblazers just had its celebration last week, which was a hybrid meeting. We haven't met on a face-to-face basis since COVID, really. And they were members in a real space in our usual meeting place, but I was able to join online since I'm far away from the others. And it was a great program. And now I've moved from that straight into this one. So it's like a double portion of blessing. Precious are the moments. Thank you for a great meeting this evening. And I wish for everyone on this platform all the best for Christmas, and may you be prosperous in the new year.
Looking forward to working with you as usual. Thanks for being here. Toastmaster Joni.
When I saw our AD, it reminded me that I did not do this during my general evaluation. For those of us on a mobile phone, I know out of habit we like to have it like this, but on Zoom, it works better if you have it like this. It offers a better picture. It allows us to see more of you, and it allows you space for movement as opposed to that what you see how narrow this is, you see how broad this is. It gives you more movement, more space. So remember, if you're on the cell phone, I know habitually you use it like this, but when we're presenting, it's always best to do this. And there is this beautiful thing called auto rotate. See if we click it right there, auto rotate, which will allow that when you turn it this way, and I learned this the hard way because my head tended to do this, it will move everything horizontally right along. But always an awesome platform.
Thank you, VTM Joni. Thank you. Hope in the new year that we can get it right with our mobile phones. Thanks. Toastmaster Jasmine Smith, would you like to say a few words? You're muted. You muted.
Yes, thank you as usual. It's always a pleasure to be here at the Platinum Artistics. There's just something about this club. You know, boy, I tell you, if I wasn't in those other clubs the same man, I'd just sign up. But let me drop off some others first. But this club is just so warm, and I just love the presence here. And our president, you just feel her heart, you know, and it filters through the club. So I will always come back.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the kind words. Cheers. Toastmaster Mary Bruce, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Madam Secretary?
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to be in those meetings. I always enjoy those meetings. And I was just thinking whether it is appropriate now to say thank you to everybody. Thank you to you. Thank you to Toastmaster of the day, because they were the two persons who really, really encouraged me. Because I was always running away. I can't do the speech. I can't do it tonight. I'll do it another time. But this evening, I was being evaluated by the great one, Joni, and she was quite pleased with me. So I was very happy for that. And I work on the points so that I can get to my level 1. It's time I do that. So her recommendations will be taken into consideration. And I like the fact where she said that you had to use the phone in a landscape manner, because that's how I have my phone. So you can get a better photo. Yes. So thank you very much. And I wish everyone best wishes for the holidays, and looking forward for better things to come in the new year. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Yes. Toastmaster Mary Bruce, thanks for everything. Toastmaster Hazel.
Oh, I can start my video?
Yes, go ahead.
No, that's what he told me. And yeah, it's my pleasure being here, and I just love to be here. Jody is the one that invited me. So thank you, Joni. I didn't know that I would catch some of it, but apparently I was the first table topic person. Yes, and yeah, I usually love to come to this club, especially when you're doing your arts and your poems and your things like that. Yeah. So the only time I don't come is if I'm doing something or it's my club meeting day. But kudos to you. Enjoy the meeting. Well done.
Yes. Thank you, Toastmaster Hazel. Always a pleasure to have you. I know you've been following us throughout the year. So thank you for that, and looking forward to having you again in the new year. Thanks again. Is Toastmaster Carla available, our VPPR? Not sure if she's available. It doesn't look so. Our guest, Valerie. Can Valerie say a few words this evening? Guest, Valerie? Doesn't look so. Toastmaster Roger Harrell.
Yes, I'm here. I'm here. I had a bit of problems with my
Yes.
internet. Overall, the meeting was a success, I must say. Even if we had a number of problems, everybody pulled through. And this is only just the beginning for us. Because imagine what we did. We did so much for this past year alone, from the meetings to our own internal meetings, getting new members on board and all things like that. So hopefully for next year, we aim higher for more achievements. And we have fun with it as well. That's what I want to see.
Yes, thank you so much. Toastmaster Alwyn, maybe you could say a few words with regards to the goal that we have achieved this year and how our club has done for the for the last 6 months.
Well, all I can say is congratulations, and I feel that my job as VP has been made easier because of all the talented people surrounding me. It has been quite a journey, and over the holidays, I'm going to go back to the drawing board so that we don't rest on our laurels, but do even better next year. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you, Toastmaster Alwyn. Looks like we have our work cut out for us in the new year. Thank you so much. Toastmasters and guests, at this point, I would like to say Merry Christmas again and enjoy the holidays. Have fun with your family, friends, well-wishers, and everyone. And Happy New Year. Happy 2023. Get your goals, work towards achieving your goals. So we will have a really, really great end of year this coming, June 2023. So all the best. And at this point, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.